Inside of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys a sneak peek inside of one of our virality sessions that we have inside of my YouTube business blueprint program. Inside of here, I'm going to be showing you the secrets of creating a viral video and kind of a cool little Venn diagram that goes along with it. If you guys are interested in joining the program, click one of the links down below, but enjoy the training. Usually most people, they want to try to figure out how to like satisfy these two people, you know, they're trying to figure out how to satisfy for these people that are like, you know, let's say the nerds of the niche, or people that are like facing this thing, you know, this is where like a lot of how-to videos come in. People are like, how to set up your calendar or something like that. It's very specific, very niche, specific audience. People need to figure out how to set up like some sort of specific software that they use for their work or whatever. Like basically like facing the problem, you know, it's like you're talking to like a very specific audience. Like people go on that side, and then also then there's usually people that go on like this parallel opposite side that's just like making content for everybody. For some reason, everyone always chooses like one of these two things. Like they go either for like super specific, super niche, or they go to make content for everybody. So instead, what you want to do is you want to make content for like, you want to find this niche right here, the nerds, you know, like this specific thing. Start from here, and then what we'll do is then on top of that, we'll stack it with making content for fans of the niche. This is kind of like a little intermediary thing right here, step. So making content for the fans of the niche. I'll make it a little bit bigger so we'll fit the third diagram I'm going to make. So what you want to do is you want to try to find the overlap of making like basically like as an example, you know, you want to like, if you're going to make, I remember one of the niches we were looking at was NASCAR, right, Heather? When you're making content, you want to make content for like, I would say instead of fans, it's just like general interest people looking to watch from afar. They're not really like interested in the niche, but they're just like, oh, this is cool. I didn't know this about NASCAR. And so what you want to do is, so the nerds of the niche facing the problem, like these are people that are NASCAR like fanatics. They're going to watch everything NASCAR. Then there's also this group of people where they're just like, oh, this is interesting. Like they're not really like watching every single race, but they're like, why do NASCAR tires like turn red? And then the third thing, which we already kind of cheated on this one, but you want to stack it in a mainstream way. So what you do is then you pull out the parts of like NASCAR that people really care about, which like something that might be interesting is logistics of NASCAR. Like people talking about the logistics of Formula One. Like I don't watch every single Formula One race. I'm actually like somewhat interested in Formula One, but when I'm wondering like the billion-dollar industry of Formula One and like how it makes money, I'm like, oh, that's actually like pretty interesting. And it's like, it taps into like kind of like a combination of the initiative. So they make it like when you're watching it, if you're a Formula One fan, you can watch it and you're not getting mad because they don't know how to pronounce names. They don't know how to like, they don't know what they're talking about. Like, as in like, they do know what they're talking about. And they make it for the fans, like the people that are super fans. But then they also talk about it in a way that's like a toddler can understand. The saying is like, you can maybe like put this kind of category right here, is make it so simple to where a golden retriever speaking Spanish can understand it. So this is kind of like this category right here, is make it to where the golden retriever speaking Spanish is able to like understand this concept of whatever it is that you're talking about. Pair that with a mainstream kind of like format. So when you stack the three of these things here, you're able to create content that is able to go viral, get lots of views. People are like able to be actually interested into it. And you're able to get to a point where you're making content that like you're able to make $10, $20, $30, $50,000, $100,000 a month off of. And I can even show you guys some examples of this real quick. So if you go to like, let's say YouTube, and like one of the guys that does this really well is like, there's this lawyer that does it, and actually there's a doctor that does it too, but Dr. Mike is a good example. So what this guy does is he's making content, like
his audience, right? The way that this guy does it is he makes content for people. Like if we were to copy over this diagram here real quick, he's making content for people that are content for med students. Okay, that's his niche right there. Med students or already like people that are like up and coming, kind of learning, going through the process.
In residency.
What's that?
In residency.
Yeah, in residency. There you go.
My sister works with residents to help them keep their schedules organized and keeps them from losing their minds while they go through the residency at a hospital.
Oh, that's cool.
I had no idea there was a job that was what they do. That is actually her job, is helping residents in a pediatric residency.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so what you want to do is with the residency students, on top of that, he's making content, like his other audience he wants to make content for is people that are just like, want to learn more about what it's like to be a doctor. No, they don't ever like see themselves wanting to become a doctor, but like, you work in a 9 to 5, like you're like working at your desk job or whatever. You're just like, oh, like what's it like being a doctor? Like, what's that like kind of life like? Just life is like, you can kind of like broadly get a good understanding of that audience. And so what he did is just with those two things alone, his decent niche. He's never really going to break out though with making this content here. But when you stack it with something mainstream, which what he does is I think he does like Hollywood and movies and TikTok actually. He's doing like all the trends. So he's doing, TikTok. He's talking about viral trends of the niche. He's just basically the doctor that's commentary on like social media. So his mainstream format is like TikToks, like viral TikTok. Then the other thing he is like weird health trends. And then he also does commentary on shows. So he'll be like, is this doctor scene legit? See to House MD Wildest Encounters, like that, some different shows. So this guy's kind of smart. He's stacking all of these. You'll usually see them just where they just pick one. Like you'll start off with one. You don't want to do all these. Maybe just reacting to TikToks, just doing shows. But this guy's kind of like, he has pretty a big audience. He's tapping into all the different ones. So he's even doing Demon Slayer. See, this is like reacts to anime scenes. So once he stacked this on it, that's why this guy has 10 million subscribers. This guy probably does like $1 million a month now off his content. So what you want to do is find a way for you to stack these 3 different trends. Like I even think one of like Neil deGrasse Tyson shows that he did where he was talking about space. He's talking about like really nerdy, like obviously like the cutting edge of like space discoveries and people that are like, astronomers and stuff. He's also making it for people that are fans of space and people that are just like interested in learning more about space. But what they did for the launch of one of their shows actually is they talked about like cutting edge science and technology. And they brought in the guy that did the voice of E.T. and how they manufactured the voice of E.T. in the movie E.T. And so one of his first like breakthrough shows that he did is they brought the technology and the science to that show E.T. And so the main concept here that I'm kind of just teaching is just like really like you want to have a specific audience that you're making this for. This is what it all stems from. This is where you bring that really strong value into the market or the niche is you have like the best channels I see are the ones that like really know the sport or the player, know the niche or the history or whatever. Like for one of my channels, we just, we have a guy that he's a history buff and that's what he does all day. He's a big time nerd. Like the hardest part with actually working with them was like then making it over here, like making the content for general people to interest in. And then here was like the idea that we injected for him to write on. So we would come up with the ideas. So once we have the niche and we have like the person that's the expert, we would come up with the ideas that's the mainstream format. So as an example, one of the mainstream formats that's crushing it right now is like, let's say ancient Egypt, or let's say World War II and Nazi Germany and the Nazis and Hitler. So we'll take those like things that are working right now, we'll pair it with somebody that's like an expert in the niche that really knows their stuff. So we don't even have to necessarily be the expert. And then we also stack that with a general interest. Like we make the content for everybody, though we produce it. So someone could not know anything about ancient Egypt and they'll still watch it, or like not know any of the technical like things about World War II or the Nazis, and they can watch it and still get something out of it. So moral of the story, when you're producing content, this is like the super secret way of going viral on YouTube, especially with Faceless channels. If you produce it around these 3 things, then you can crush it on YouTube.
And there we have it. That's the content. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, make sure to subscribe, make sure to like this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.